Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
I am a working man. I get things done. Work for the Holy Ghost.
And you're listening to Live from the Path, recording for the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper.
I am a special agent of...
I'm excited.
Hey, I'm gonna do something weird. I'm right back. I'm moving over. So we have an open microphone today, and so I'm gonna mute this host microphone, and I'm gonna sit as a guest over there, and we're gonna talk like men.
We're gonna. This is the time we're gonna talk like men.
We're gonna talk like men.
Every other time we haven't been talking like men,
Yeah,
and it has everything to do with where Ben is sitting.
yeah. Mike, you can give a shot.
I think this is going to be overall great.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm coming over. Buva, talk about our Instagram.
So actually, we just got an Instagram. You can follow us now at Live from the Path. All one word, Live from the Path. You'll see us. If you do follow our Facebook, it is the same picture from there. And if you get on right now, you'll be part of the first followers of this account. So that's a big deal. We'd like to start giving you guys some content, following some people that kind of do more Instagram than Facebook. It's just an opportunity for us to push them in a way that they want to be pushed, so we can start interacting with people who come on the show and that we know. So follow us just like you do on Facebook for some content.
Yeah, push them. I like it. I don't know how to use the Instagram. Is it primarily pictures? Is that the deal?
It is only picture. Well, pictures and videos, yeah.
Okay, all right. This is going to be good. So, here's what we're going to talk about. This is a great show, fellas. The corona is in full breath. And so we were talking before the show that I think we've just got some questions, and we thought this is a safe space. This is the place to ask the questions about the corona.
Right.
And talk about like reasonable people. Because here's the deal with something like this. People are always talking to a vacuum. They're talking to hear themselves speak.
Right.
And they're like, oh, I sound really good saying this. My outrage is justified. I hate everybody who's doing anything. And so we're not after that. I think we just want to be able to react to the world in a reasonable way, in a prudent manner that shows wisdom and probably some semblance of hope.
Right, exactly. Like we are saturated with information right now when it comes to this stuff, but like I just don't know who to trust. And I don't know what sources are right, and I don't know who's talking gibberish and who's talking from an actual educated standpoint. I just can't tell where to get my information from right now.
What we don't do very well anymore in this country is we don't hold anybody accountable for some of the stuff that they said. So overall, like there are probably 15 guys out there making predictions.
Right.
On, like, I was just reading a guy three days ago, and he's like, we're already on the downward slide of this thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, good. No worries then.
Right.
And then everybody else in the world's like, hey, man, we're on the uptick. This is going to be the worst thing ever.
Exactly.
And I thought, hey, Richard, whatever your name is, I'm going to keep a bookmark on you so I can email you later and be like, you lied to everybody.
Right, exactly.
You told people lies.
Right. There's no consequences to that.
Correct.
Someone can prognosticate somewhere, and it never shows back up.
Did you say the word prognosticate?
Yeah.
Is that even a word?
Yeah, and that's the thing is the internet is. I mean, that's basically if you want to break down the premise to what the worst of the internet is.
Right.
It's constant prognostication from people that have zero abilities, information, or fact checking, and they're like, "Here's the thing," and then they'll draw a graph, and I'm like, "A graph? Well, okay, well,
That
this
looks
guy-
legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this guy has obviously got this thing all.
There's
handled.
obviously data behind this.
So maybe we should let's do what we know. What do we know that we can consider to be hard fact that hasn't come from a
Right.
thousand different places?
What's undisputed?
What's
I guess.
undisputed? So one, COVID-19,
Yep.
coronavirus 19, established in 2019. That's it.
Yep.
There's been coronaviruses before this. They just used the 19 to establish it. So it's coronavirus 2019. Source, Wuhan, China.
Wuhan. Yep.
What's the why? Where did it come from?
I thought it came from an animal.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
This is how out of touch I am with this stuff. I honestly have no idea where this popped up.
So I know that most dogs are vaccinated for corona.
Oh,
For most
Really?
of the coronavirus. Yeah, it's part of their vaccine package that they
So-
give animals.
maybe
So
there's
what's going on with the whole Lysol has coronavirus already on it? Thing?
it's because
Is this just a new mutation
Yeah.
of the original coronavirus?
this is
and
an
that's what we're
existing
dealing
group
with?
of viruses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. That's what I was wondering about. Like, I didn't know if they were saying, like, Lysol predicted this was going to happen, blah, 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 which was crap. But, like, I was just confused by that.
Okay, so we know that epicenter, that's where it starts.
Started
Okay.
in Wuhan.
Okay.
It did a lot of damage there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it tore the place up.
Pretty rough.
It's a legit concern. People who are more susceptible to it are people with compromised immune systems,
Yep.
especially people that are older.
Uh-huh.
And here's at the end of the day, the thing that gets you is not the coronavirus itself; it's pneumonia. Like
Okay.
right, like you get coronavirus and then you get fluid in your lungs. Like if you don't have the ability to fight it off,
Yeah, okay.
and you catch pneumonia, and that's the thing that actually will
Right, yeah,
cause
you go for one of the symptoms, yeah.
caused you the trouble. Otherwise, the coronavirus is simply a cold or flu-like virus. When compared against the standard influenza, even influenza A and B that are fairly prevalent here in Western society,
Right.
not considered to be more lethal, definitely more transmittable because we do not have current antibodies against COVID-19 or COVID-19.
Yeah.
Most people do not have the innate ability to just pass it off or and defeat it, right? So it does. It's easy to catch. It's transmissible through respiratory fluid, coughing, sneezing, whatever. That's why they have like the 6-foot social justice rule.
Yep.
Right.
So
Wait,
and
is that what they call it? 6-foot social justice rule?
social
I think-
distancing?
Social distancing, yeah.
I probably said that
Now,
wrong.
okay, so let me. So
you
I'm
mean
going
by
to keep
social
asking questions
justice
as you keep
space?
spitting out information, honestly.
Okay.
So when it comes down to it, what I've heard is that the lethality rates and mortality rates are skewed incorrectly because of possibility that these cases are not being diagnosed fast enough.
I would say that everyone recognizes that our numbers are bad for multiple reasons.
Okay.
So you could say they're not being diagnosed fast enough, but like it's also crazily underreported. Because here's the thing: let's
Right.
say I came down with some sort of cough, and it lasted for 3 days.
Yeah, that doesn't get
I
taken to
wouldn't
the
report
CDC.
it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have called it in. I wouldn't have thought anything
Right,
about
it's
it.
allergy season here in the Midwest.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are not major concerns
Yeah.
for, say, 20 to 50-year-olds. You get a cough around the 1st of March or 1st of April, you're like, it's allergy time.
Right. There's allergy season going on, temperature swings are going on, and that might be what's going on, and all this different stuff are both things
You
that
wouldn't
I've
even
heard
think about
hardcore.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, and I think that's true for the vast majority of people. What it was, and this is where the numbers get difficult, because we don't know how much they reflect reality because you're relying on humans to report things. But like something like 80% of people won't even know they have it. And let's just be clear here. Not everybody gets it though. Like even though a lot of this is true for a lot of different things, but like it doesn't. It's not inevitable that you're going to get it. And it doesn't mean that it affects everybody in the same way. It has a lot to do with the host. That's why we talk about immunocompromised people. Is that they're in a much more difficult situation because their body's not prepared to fend it off. But like you very well could have. Most people listening to this very well could have already had it, and you would not have even known the difference. You would have sniffled for a couple days, and you wouldn't even have thought about it. But that's why our reaction, to a certain extent, is disproportionate because all of a sudden we treat the thing as if it's inherently deadly. It's not. So there are some people where it impacts them that way, but the flu does that. Car accidents do that. We'll get to this later, but we have to recognize that there's an amount of risk that we take by doing anything to live our lives. In fact, there's a greater risk of me dying in a car accident than there is even close to coming down with this, right? And I still leave the house. And so, again, as we think about a proportionate response to this type of thing, just there's some considerations there. But so generally, just because it exists doesn't mean you're going to get it. Just because you're going to get it doesn't mean it's going to actually make any consequential difference to your life. And so this is where how we respond to things is disproportionate. And I don't want to get too far into this discussion because it brings out the people from the shadows of the internet. But
Right.
like measles is the same thing. Are there kids who die from exposure to measles? Yes. Is it the vast majority of them? No, it isn't. Most people, most kids even who get measles, especially in a Western state with competent access to good food, clean air, clean water, we'll get through it just fine. Like we still vaccinate for the measles, but just recognize that like what you're fearing is a peripheral case, and you're protecting against a spread of something even larger, which is the crux of our response.
Right.
The type of thing that the government's trying to do isn't trying to keep people from getting it.
People from transmitting.
It's trying to keep one it's spreading, and not even that it won't spread, because it only takes one idiot to walk into anywhere and
Yeah,
spread
agreed.
it. Like, that's why it's here. If it started in Wuhan and it's here in the United States and it's decimating, and it's all over Italy.
gonna say, yeah.
And so, like, if that's happening, just recognize that, like, there's no way they can possibly contain how quickly things spread. So they're not actually even saying, hey, we think that we can stop people from getting it. They're trying to disperse how often or how many people get it once so that your infrastructure doesn't crumble in light of it.
Right, and I think that's a big distinction right now that people aren't recognizing is that's one of the biggest reasons they're doing that. They talked
Right.
about it in President Trump talked about that both yesterday and today, and then Governor Reynolds from Iowa talked
Yep.
about that today as well. Is one of the biggest things we're trying to take care of is the impact on the infrastructure we have because we have finite resources when it comes to how many cases we can handle simultaneously.
Yes, exactly. And I heard someone, this is it's a pile of people whining on Facebook, but there was someone who's like, hey, the right thing to do is to react to, if our infrastructure is bad, we should fix our infrastructure. That would be dumb. Why would we possibly set up our hospitals at all times to otherwise handle a situation that happens very rarely?
Right.
Like, you're going to have 1 million nurses on staff all the time ready for, like, it just doesn't make any sense to do that. It recognizes that this is a unique situation.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, like, infrastructure, I mean, let's just look at the different infrastructure, right? Like, it's the backbone, and like, all backbones are arduous and take a long time to build.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yes.
I think the thing that I'm having the hardest time tolerating here is, let's be honest, everybody's in uncharted waters here. Everybody, right? From your superintendent who's having to decide before they made it mandatory to call school. And right, and like whether your school called it early or yours waited till the mandate came down, these dudes, I mean, imagine that shows up at your desk. You get the same information as the general public. There's not like a secret superintendent phone, right? Where they're like,
Right.
here's the actual deal, Superintendent Jones, right? Like, you have the same information. It's all flowing down from the government and from news outlets and whatever. And you're like, God, you know, I don't know if I pull this trigger too fast, I'll be nailed as like a whatever an overcautious boob. And if I do it too slow, I'll be blamed for the sickness of the next 1,000
Yep.
people in the district, right? So everybody's in uncharted waters here. And the thing that I'm having a hard time taking in is I realize that it's easy to call balls and strikes from your back office chair at your house where you're quarantined. But, like, we got the best medical minds trying to figure out how we can get this thing wrapped up.
Right.
And, like, there has to be, especially from a Christian point of view, I'm having a hard time with all the I told you so's, right? That's not
Yeah.
in your vocabulary in everyday living, right? When Jesus had the opportunity for I told you so's, he said, turn the other cheek, walk another mile, take it, give him the cloak, give him the tunic, right? Like, the I told you so's don't come out. And the vast majority is if we'd have done this, and this, and this, and this, and this, then this, and this. You don't know any of those things. You are purely guessing, right? And like, so some of, like, the reaction that we were just talking about is a guy was talking about this today. Is he basically said, look, you obviously, with the reported cases, we can't make decisions as if the reported cases is the actual here and now.
Right.
We're already 3 days behind whatever that is.
Right.
These are just the things we're learning, right? By the time someone has gotten tested, and verified that they got the thing, they're 6 days in. They got it.
Right.
Right? And so, like, who knows how many people they talked to in 6 days. So now we have to try to measure our response to be 6 days in the future as if we're 6 days behind. Because you are, right? That seems reasonable to me.
That's right.
If you'd have come over to me a week ago and said they're going to close schools, they're going to close the casinos, they're going to ban you from every job site you're going to work, I'd be like, whoa, what's going on?
Right.
But, like, once it's explained to me by a guy who knows something or other, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Right.
I mean, I'm in uncharted waters too. I don't know how to react to, hey, you're supposed to be at work tomorrow, but now you can't go. And, like, let's get down to Johnny Average American, right? Like, are you going to pay me? Like, if I go on quarantine and you don't have any work for me to do from home, am I going to get money? Or
Right.
do I have to take, like, vacation days? Or what goes on here? Nobody knows. And can we just take a big, deep breath and go, nobody actually knows.
Yeah.
We're working to figure this out.
There's a lot of humans in this equation, right? Like, and I think we look at and people from various parts of the spectrum act like there's a machine somewhere kicking out this stuff. There's ready. Here's your big hit. There's humans in the White House. There's humans running your local governments. There's humans running your state government. Okay, these are humans, people with families, people with jobs. And I don't care your political persuasion. These aren't soulless caverns of demons.
Right.
Okay? They're humans trying to figure out reasonable ways of going about things.
In uncharted waters.
That's right. All right, and so your opinion, largely, and let's be honest about this. Most of the people who have the strongest opinion have formed it because they saw someone else with a strong opinion and said, "Yeah, I agree with that." Now I'm going to trumpet that and say that this is the thing that's true. You're not dealing with raw data. You have no background or experience. Like this is not the time for your "I told you so" punditry. Okay. This also isn't the time to take whatever political problem you have with all numbers of people and repaint a situation of people that are actually trying to help. Okay. Like objectively, I think you have people who are trying to do the right thing here.
Mm-hmm.
You may disagree that they haven't done the right thing in the past. This is not, and frankly, this is not just about the president. We've talked about this in the show. I don't love this man. Okay.
Right.
But like I look out at groups of people and no one's trying to screw you here. I think they're humans in uncharted territory that you need to have a little grace for because everyone thinks that they would do it so much better. But here's the deal, friend. If you could have done it so much better, you have vastly wasted your skills there on your couch. Like, why didn't you have the balls to get in the political race? Okay, you're 15 years behind from being president because you were a coward and decided to sit on that. Well, you should be helping humanity with your efforts. But to the extent that you're not, because you're actually not qualified, you don't actually know what you're doing, and all your information is and opinion is based upon and formatted from other random dudes you read on the internet, take it easy. I'd recommend shutting your mouth for a while. Maybe don't comment every 4 hours. Maybe don't post anything on Facebook about something you don't know anything about. Share news that's good. Share information that is helpful to other people, and past that, maybe keep your opinions back just a hair. You're looking dumb. And for Christians, you're betraying the name of Jesus here. You look stupid. You've decided to invest yourself in a fight that you don't, in your ignorance, and raise a flag about it. And this is the wrong thing. Why don't you? Here's the deal. You take that time and let's pray for the people who are working in restaurants who legitimately can't expect a paycheck.
Right.
You work a blue collar job. I work a white collar job. Okay, I work in an office. They're going to pay me, even if they shut the place down for 2 weeks. They'll pay me. Now, here's the thing. My job's not going away. I'll be working for the next 2 weeks. Mine won't go anywhere.
Right.
But like most of your white-collar work, office work, it's a bigger corporation. They're going to pay you, okay? You start getting into things like restaurants, they don't have it. The money's not coming in. If they have to shut down for 2 to 3 weeks, like, server's not getting paid. Manager's not getting paid. The guy who owns the local restaurant isn't bringing any money. He legitimately cannot pay you. And he probably doesn't have insurance to cover situations like this, unless and until the state allows you to fire disability on it or something. Okay, so like that's what I'm saying. There's legit hardships here. This is not the time for your wisdom. It's the time for your action. It's to go do something that otherwise helps the thing that's within your control. This is where this goes back to something I think we've talked about within the last year or so. This is where social media is misleading. It gives you the thought that you have more of an influence with your voice than you do with your feet. And that's fake. It's not fake for everybody. There's some people who the platform simply meets them where they're at.
Right.
The ability to, they're already influencing thousands of people. This just allows them to do it faster. But like, often we're mistaken on the amount of influence social media or our opinion actually gives us. It's like having a microphone. You ever been to an open mic night? Like at some like musician or slam poetry or something, and like there's totally something about getting in front of a microphone and being louder than everybody else. We just talked about this at church for a different reason, but like it gives you a sense of power. Everyone stops and shuts up while I speak, and my loud voice fills the room. It gives you a sense of power, and so that social media does that very thing. It gives you a sense of power, and it gives you the false impression that you have influence. And to the extent that you have a finite bucket of influence and you decide that you're going to spout on the mouth about things you don't really know or just regurgitate other people's opinions, or you could use that same amount of time and take that influence and spend it in prayer, spend it in checking up on people who are probably in a rough situation with reduction in work schedules, or they don't know what to do with their kids, okay? Or to figure out a ways to scrape some money together. The homeless shelter is going to be running out of food pretty soon because people are hoarding the crap on their own and they're not giving it elsewhere. There's all kinds of needs that are directly caused by this situation. And whether it's ineptitude up top or it's just the nature of the beast is irrelevant to you. We can be hands and feet people. And if that soaks up almost all of our time and we didn't get a chance to comment on whether you thought someone was doing a competent job, glory be to God. That's probably all right.
So and I think I know, like a lot of the heart stuff comes to fruition because they're like, hey, if we would have handled this differently, then we would have reduced the number of people that are going to die from this thing. Some of that is true, right? But once again, it's a 2020 hindsight kind of deal, right? Like, I can always tell you how I would have done something different to prevent whatever. And the truth of the matter is, you're kind of shaking your fist at the wrong demon here, right? Like, nobody created the thing, right? Like, no one planned to unleash it. And so it is a thing that is happening to us as a people, as a world. It's a thing that's happening to us. And so we are trying to handle it in our most efficient and responsible way, still being valuable humans here, right? So like, I get it. Like you're saying, because they will come back and say, listen, but people's lives are actually at stake. And that is true. And like, no one's trying to take the weight off of that. I think everybody knows that. That's why people are, to the best of their abilities. America's a tough soup bowl, right? Like when you say you're going to be part of the land of the free, it's not like other countries where you can just demand martial law and then everyone accepts it. That's not how it works here. Yeah. As soon as you institute a martial law or even a curfew, good luck getting half the hillbillies to do it. They'll go, I'll do whatever I want. I mean, in fact, I was just thinking about this, and this is totally unfair and completely biased because I don't know if this is true or not. But like a couple friends of mine are traveling for work,
yeah,
and they're working down in Texas, and I thought if there's one place where I think they will say, whatever, we're Texas, we will continue to run Texas however Texas runs. No one's going to tell us how to limit whatever, and maybe they did. I don't know. I didn't even look into it, right? But it occurred to me that like going through that thought process, if I actually if my kids are hungry and I got no food, I will break your curfew.
Right.
I will go out into the streets and I will go to the store.
Right.
And because I live in the land of the free, that is a mindset that like was given to me at birth here. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this country where I have that thought process where, I mean, put us in a lot of the countries throughout the world and then countries throughout past where you can look back and go, when the Romans say, you don't leave your house, you don't leave. Right. You'll die of starvation in there before you walk out because they'll put a sword through you, right? So realize that all these conversations are coming from a platform of privilege here, but it also makes us a very hard country to govern because you're governing. Everyone has equal power here, right? We're a free society, and you can put as many curfews as you want, but the worst thing you're going to do, let's say you get a bunch of lawbreakers breaking the curfew, right? What are you going to put more than 10 of them in a jail cell? Because you, sir, you just broke the thing, right? What are you going to do with these people?
Fishbowl at county jails is about
right?
to get really
You're going to fine them? They're like, fine me. But and on that same token, like so I went to the store, right? And it wasn't even for emergency preparedness. I just go to the store, right? And I'm walking through the aisles, and I'm looking around, and like still the toilet paper's gone.
Yeah.
And I thought, is this the first thing on people's minds? Hey, if this all goes haywire, I gotta wipe my butt. I gotta be able to wipe it. And like the peanut butter sits completely stuck.
I was gonna say
the bread is available.
I went to Sam's Club yesterday with family, and I was astonished to see what was out of stock. Like the TP was out of stock, the baby wipes were out of stock. Which seriously, people, baby wipes are not for as a disinfectant. That's not how that works.
They make those, but baby wipes aren't it.
Yeah, baby wipes aren't it. There are people who have children that could really use the baby wipes.
Yeah.
And you think you're disinfecting your home by cleaning all your doors with baby. That makes no sense. You are. I'm sorry not to forget it. I'm not sorry for being harsh. You're being idiotic. You're being idiotic, and it's
you're
hurting
causing
people.
Micro problems when there's a macro problem going on.
My mother runs a daycare, and she had to buy a pallet of paper towels because she goes, if this lasts long enough, I'm going to run out of baby wipes, and I need to find something. Like, I got to figure something out. And she goes, I'll create my own baby wipes, but that's ridiculous that we've got to do that because people are buying the wrong products, and it's dumb. And it's like, it's interesting to see what people care about in these times, and it's like we have to put bans on or limits on how much we can get laundry items and how much we can get cleaning items and things like that. And then people are buying bathroom cleaners thinking those are disinfectants and all this different stuff. You need to educate yourself as a consumer and buy the right things.
So think about this. Think of the broad.
But canned chicken was completely stocked.
Okay, that's fair. So think about the broad notion of we like to think of ourselves. There's a political philosophy that says, look, we want to make sure we help all those people who are in need, right? We want to make sure they've got health insurance. We want to make sure that everyone who needs the welfare assistance has it, education, jobs, right, like that, okay? Now, you take that same thought process that we as the people are going to give and support. The first sign of fear in our country, what did we do? What's our individual expression? Is to hoard for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the opposite side, what they'll say is, well, we wouldn't have to do that if we otherwise had all these things in place.
Right.
But here's the thing. You do have to put your actions where your heart intends to be. And now, this is disappointing on every angle, right? Everyone, we all should be able to look at this and go, hey, do I need all this crap? If we had not overreacted, the stuff would still be there. In fact, my wife went to go. We have a local supermarket in Bondurant, and she went there to buy some things. And the butcher lady was out there, and they were fresh. They were clean out of chicken, all out of chicken. And the lady was talking to my wife, who's ended up buying some other meat or whatever. And she goes, "We were fine. We were well stocked. People have been pragmatic around here. We have toilet paper, like we had the Bondurant grocery. People had been reasonable." And she goes, I cut up, the lady cut up a bunch of chicken breasts and set them out this morning. And she said some lady came out and bought her clean out. And she goes, man, was everything all right? I asked her, she goes, oh yeah, it's fine. It's just my normal grocery store was out of chicken. And so I came here. That woman doesn't even normally shop there. Mm-hmm. So she went from someone else that cleaned out somewhere else. So she went to some other place and to completely cleaned it out. And so the butcher lady's like, I've got normal customers, people who come in here and buy chicken all the time, and who have been buying chicken normally, even in this time, recognizing that other people in their community will need chicken. They're not the only people that live here, and so I'll buy what I need. Someone else will come get what they need. It's the Bailey Building alone, okay? And but no, this other woman, with complete disregard for the community that she was in, came and cleaned the joint out and left. And so, like, that's the thing, is that we look at it and she's like, you don't need it. We were out of eggs. When we looked around for eggs today, and there's no eggs anywhere.
Nowhere.
No, I bought it from a local farmer. And then I bought enough that I can take some to a grandparents or whatever who also can't get some.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the eggs, things go bad. You can't just hold eggs forever.
Exactly.
What's the matter with you?
You can't freeze eggs.
Quit hoarding eggs. And so, like, it's just that, I guess here's the broad point. In times where you feel like things are out of your control, recognize that you're right. They are out of your control. There are things that are bigger than you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of Jesus' advocation on the Sermon on the Plain and Sermon on the Mount are about individual control. What can you control? You can forgive even if the other person is abusing you, right? You can give them the tunic even if they stole your cloak, right? These are things. Look at the plank in your own eye. That's your control before you can help with the speck in somebody else's. And so when things feel too big, your first reaction shouldn't be, let me comment on the big. It's to take control of what you have control over. Well, what can I do? Well, I cannot, what would I not want other people to do to me? Buy everything out from under me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to act responsible. Even when everyone else is going to act foolishly. We're going to act responsible. I'm going to wash my hands like I'm supposed to. I'm going to try not to go out. I'm going to recognize the people who are immunocompromised. I'm going to stay away from them. I'm going to probably keep my beard clean. Right now, because do you notice that, like, everywhere in the world where this thing is going on, and in the United States they've been hitting this, like, they're not asking for anything outrageous here. Wash your hands.
Right.
Don't get in large groups where things can spread quickly, at least for a while. Don't go around immunocompromised people, especially if you've have any possibility of getting exposed. But in general, maybe just stay away from them. Right. And, like, these are not hard things. They're personal things within your control. It's when we start to bat above our range and say, I will control bigger than me by my personal action, is when things start to get foolish. And so this is so difficult because there's so many things that need right-sized in the conversation, right? The right perspective of, do I need to be afraid of this virus carte blanche? Is it the Black Plague? It's not. Right. It's not. Most of you all are going to be fine. Do I need 4 weeks supply of toilet paper? Not unless you're drinking too much coffee, and you got the runs when it happens. Okay, and then just cut down on the coffee. And are you thinking about the community around you as opposed to just for your own selfish needs? Do you have any reason to think our food supply chain is in rough shape?
No,
you don't.
It was actually part of Trump's message today was, calm down. Stop buying so much. Retailers are asking you to stop buying so much. Our supply chain is fine.
Right, because here's the thing: is that, like, just think about it. Do you notice your toilet paper isn't done by a dude? There's not a guy there running the TP machine.
Right.
There's machines kicking out toilet paper all over the place.
We have power.
There's one guy on the truck delivering it to
who just backs up to the warehouse, and your guys unload it. You don't have to talk to the guy.
Yeah, right. And there's two guys who work at the Brick Street and who work at the Hy-Vee who are unloading the truck. Right? Probably not sneezing on the cardboard box of which the toilet paper is otherwise contained in. Like
inside
it's
of plastic, inside of that.
yeah. Oh, here on the same regard. Here's the deal, guys. We're with the store today. We're looking for eggs. Full of produce. I know you're afraid. I get it. Orange is gonna be fine. It's got the thing on the outside. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Put the gloves on if you want to. Wash it off.
Right.
Open it up and eat it.
You
Bananas
should be
gonna
washing
be.
your food anyway.
They're gonna be fine. This is all gonna be
You
fine.
should be washing your produce anyway.
That's the thing, is that like you've acted foolishly and selfishly, and what it felt like at the time was that you were protecting yourself. That's what selfishness always feels like. I'm protecting myself, and I'm like I can't legitimately make a call to non-Christians because your belief system will guide how much of that is justified. But again, following Jesus, like we can't do that. That's not our default to things. We should be giving things up as opposed to hoarding it in.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is ultimately, like, let's talk about what we can do. What should the kingdom of Christ be doing in this kind of trying time? Like, what should we be thinking about doing? Not just thinking about it. What should we be doing as a body of believers that believe in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and how that's supposed to affect our actions? What should we be doing right now?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of really great options. One, there's a lot of isolation, right? Like the nature of trying to protect people starts to isolate folks.
Right.
Think of especially your immunocompromised folks. So make us some phone calls. Hey, how's it going over there?
Yeah.
You right? Let them hear a voice. Someone's thinking about them. Someone cares about them. Hey, do you have everything that you need? Doesn't mean you have to go over there, or heck, you could even just drop it on the porch if they needed something, right? But like, they're folks who shouldn't be going out, and who other people aren't coming in. They may need something, and frankly, they want to know people are thinking about them. And so, check up on folks.
Yeah.
Especially people who are immunocompromised. Two, recognize that this is not your call to be a cowboy in defiance of good government wisdom. Okay, of people. So here's the thing: it is not a virtue to you to bring your gang of 20 boys out somewhere into a group and to frequent a restaurant because the government told you not to. Okay, this is like, think about the people around you. It's not about you. It's not about whether you're going to be pushed around by the government. It's not about whether you're feeling just fine. Okay, it's about what potential impact you could have to the people around you. So be thoughtful about it. Okay, where everything else is canceling around you, maybe it's wise just to let it go. I mean, we're talking a couple weeks here. Hang out at home. Hang out with your family.
Right.
3, be prepared to give some of your resources up. Just know that, like, again, we're creating hardships. This isn't the government's fault. Okay, it's just the nature of trying to stop something that's massive. And like, again, restaurants are closing. People bake. People aren't going to get paid. Okay, they're going to, yes. Are there likely to be some levels of stimulus or at least abeyance from a government perspective? Yes, I'm sure they're going to try. But nothing is going to beat people to people saying, hey, do you need any help this month? How can I help?
Right, and nothing's going to work at the speed that is helpful.
Right.
Like if they, I mean, even if they get a stimulus going or something, right? It's just going to, like, the guy's got to eat now, right? How many people do you know that are in the restaurant industry that make all their money on tips?
Right.
Right? They get paid measly nothings, but they make all their money on tips. No one's going out to eat. Like, they have zero income coming in. Zero. Right? And so, like, yeah. And in fact, I think there's been a couple people, even in my hometown, like they did a whatever COVID-19 support Facebook group where they're like, hey, if you need something, put it here. We'll get somebody to get it to you.
Yeah.
Right? If you got something that someone else could need, tell me, we'll work on it, you know? And like, it's a great idea. It's a mess. It's hard to handle. Like, it's just a melee
of course.
people talking back and forth. You can't keep track of who's got what or nothing, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, overall, the thought process was right.
The thought process
Like-
is right, yes.
Like,
Yeah.
we're available to handle some of these things. So, and also as, like, let's hit it, right? Like, it's part of our circle here. What are we going to do about church?
So here's the thing: as I would recommend any church that is of a whatever the size is that the government's asking to stop, is to not meet. I would. It's too bad Dan isn't here because I think Dan held service last Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see whether he was thinking about doing it this Sunday. A lot of churches did not hold service. I don't see what you're gaining by it. Like by saying, oh, the people of God won't be stopped from coming into this building for what? Like, our definition isn't in the building; it's not at the time anyway. And so, like, I don't understand the crank of value here. I'd take a couple weeks off. I don't even care if you do online teaching. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. I'd go find something to do.
I mean, here's the deal: is like, for most of the population, where this will come and go, and it may or may not affect you to a heavy percentage. I would use it for what it is, and take some time to reinvest in some of the things that, like, Americans certainly struggle with this, right?
Yep.
Like, you have the possibility to, like, the kids are off school for at least a month, right? And your work may or may not let you hang out at home, and you have a closet you always wanted to clean out, or
Right.
you wanted to play Monopoly with the kids in the middle of the day, or, you know, like listen, all these things, and, like, what are we actually giving up here? Like, what are we fighting to keep? Right? Like,
Yeah.
if I'm being allowed, without any threat of losing my job, to hang out with my family, hunker down at our place, and just be for a little while, and let this thing, and all while doing our part to do the right thing here, to try to stop the disease from spreading to people that just do not have the ability to fight it off. What am I really fighting for here? I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
this seems okay to me, right? Like, I'm not fighting to go to work because it's bootstraps time. Actually, the bootstraps is staying home. That's the bootstraps, right? The hard thing to do here is to give up your everyday normal and hang out with your family and, like, hunker down and be responsible with what you got and take care of your community around you without hugging them, right? Like,
Yeah.
put the food on the porch and leave, or whatever you
Wait,
got.
here's the deal, though. Is that was one of the things I was going to say was, I know this is going to seem counterintuitive, but, like, this is a great time to have people over for dinner.
Right.
Like, we're talking about, again, it's not implicit that you're going to get it, and we're trying to stop massive movement of it. But, like, does it mean you cannot see friends? Does it mean that you cannot have your family over? No. As a matter of fact, I would try to keep it to people you know where they've been, who
Right.
you come in contact with. So we do house church. I'm not canceling church. It depends. Like, if we get to a point where, like, enough people won't come, then we won't bother because we'll find something else to do that Sunday. But, like we know everybody. There's certain folks who have immunocompromised folks in their family where it may not make sense for them to go. I totally get it. But, like, I don't think the reason they're keeping the gatherings to a certain number is to try to control how fast something spreads. Does that preclude you from having a family over, or your friends seeing a couple of their friends? I don't think so. I think that's an overreaction.
Right.
Because, again, if you look at it as being, again, not the same as the flu, but, like, if your mortality rate's 2 to 3%, 80% of people don't notice, whatever. It's, for all practical purposes, think of it kind of like the flu, except for it spreads a little bit more rapidly. So there's all kinds of people you meet, talk to, run into, of which you don't ask their medical history before doing anything. There is a certain level of acceptance of risk into leaving your house at all and being involved in the world.
Right.
So do I think this means you have to completely shut down? You can, and if you can, I'm all right with it. But, like, I don't know that it precludes your ability to have dinner with a friend, or have the neighbor's kid come over and play. I don't think it's that. I think that's an overreaction to the situation that we're in. And so I would say, to a certain extent, don't. This isn't a lockdown. It's a wise caution. It's being prudent about what you do, who you hang out with. But again, it just be even if your neighbor had it, there's not a guarantee that you're going to get it.
Right.
He's going to have to cough in your face, or your beard, or something.
Right, you can still yell at them from across the fence.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
cough in my beard,
Actually,
I'm headbutting you.
I saw a guy. I thought this was a really fun idea. There was a pastor that was talking about for Easter, because this is the restrictions here are going to end up taking you into the Easter season, right? Mm-hmm. And he was talking about, what if you could set up something like a drive-in movie Easter gathering. And I thought, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, stay in your own cars.
Yeah. You could find a place to do it. Now, I think he has still had, like, the people, like, roll down their window, but I thought, like, you could even get one of those
Things that tune to a station or whatever?
small radio broadcasters. Find some cool place to set up, and at least have your whole community come, park, turn on the radio, and they could still see you, or pastor, or the worship band, or whatever, and at least you got to share it as a community and roll down the windows and wave. This is all fine. There's ways to do this that are fun.
Right.
There's ways to do this that don't put anybody at risk and are reasonable, that don't cause us to dig in our heels or say, oh, we can't meet at all. Like, if this thing at all hampers the work of the church, we're stupid.
Yeah.
We're super foolish.
What is it? One of the wisest people I know said, "There's nothing to worry about. There's plenty to pray about," and that's pretty dead on.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have anything to worry about here. We do have lots of stuff to pray about.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're right. Like, if you don't see this as an opportunity to do something different, right? Like, I mean, we don't This is both a Jesus thing and an American thing. What is this lay down mentality?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're like, well, I always do it this way, and if I can't do it this way, I'm not going to do nothing. We don't do that here. We don't do that. We come up with ways to do the whatever, and following all the guidelines. Like, we're not talking about rebelling the thing or meeting secretly with 100 people. That's dumb. You know why we're not doing that, right? And like some of this that's where the part comes slightly irritating is like, you know exactly why they're asking us to keep this to 10 people. You know why. Don't act like you don't know why. You know why. So don't do it. Right? Come up with a way to get this done without acting like a fool.
Yeah.
You know, here's and I was thinking about this on the drive in is like, some people are getting the opportunity to work from home. Some people aren't going to work at all, you know, and then there's our medical community, which are doing the same work that they normally do for the exact same pay. Except they're being bombarded and yelled at all the time. Right? Like, what a time to be in the medical profession.
Well, and the poor bastard that runs the checkout line at the grocery store.
Exactly. Right. He ain't going nowhere, right? He gets to be yelled at 5 times a day about the toilet paper supply. Look, I can't do anything about Susan Wells, who came in here and bought all the toilet paper. There's nothing I can do, you know?
I'll tell you, I was at Walmart last week thinking about that concept, and the dudes that were restocking the Walmart, I sat there and I talked to them for a second. Like, I just kind of loved on them for a second. I'm like, man, this has got to be one of the toughest jobs right now. They're like, dude, we have been constantly grabbing stuff off of trucks, running them right back here, filling them up. People are fighting on our aisles for this stuff. It's been crazy. And I'm like, okay, well, talk to me. Like, maybe you want to just chat for a second. I'll pretend like I'm buying some TP. What's going on?
Right.
And the dude's like, well, actually, it's been a really crappy week. And I'm just like, okay, all right. I can't even imagine how crazy this is for you right now. And he just kind of dug on the fact that I wasn't yelling at him.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's a sad situation.
It is a sad situation.
Do his job, and like everyone's for lack of no pun intended here, crapping on the guy.
Yeah.
And like he's just trying to do his job more so than ever, and people are just dumping on him. It's ridiculous.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'll say is that based upon the amount of stuff that has gone all over these stores, this isn't like 5 to 10 isolated selfish people.
No.
This is us. We have to own our response to this. We have to, as a humanity, we have to own the fact that we did this. In the first sign of fear, we doomsday prepped.
Yeah.
And we took everything we had and we said, screw everybody else, I'm going to do what I want. And again, there's 50-60% of professing Christians here in the United States. If we had completely had ourselves handled here, guys, this wouldn't be happening.
Right.
You know, I went shopping this morning at the Amish grocery store.
Yes, you did.
And it was calm. They don't even care.
It's
not. I shouldn't say that.
Wait.
It's not like they don't
The
care.
what?
Down south.
Like the Amish grocery?
I bet there's an Amish grocery that's like 4 miles west of Grimes that I want to hit up. And I know there's no way there's anything happening in that place.
There's great.
I call that place Bonnets and Bluetooth because it's the coolest place ever. It's amazing. It's an internet cafe for a while.
Now here's the thing: they don't have any. They didn't have any toilet paper there, which I thought was weird. Like they don't even sell it.
Support the bidets.
I bet someone came out and wiped them out.
Yeah, they don't even have. They don't even have a place for it, right? Like but like there was like 5 people in the store, and no one brought it up. No one said anything about anything. No signs, no prep work or whatever. They're like, Amish grocery store. That's it. You know, it was super smooth shopping. It was great. I would recommend hitting up your local Amish store.
I went to the Cash Saver on the east side. That's like, it's a rough spot.
Yeah.
It's the place it's like a food outlet, which I totally dig on. And it's the place that like everything's so cheap they just add 10% to everything on the checkout line.
Yeah.
And like that place, fully stocked, no issues. They got stuff that they don't even have at other places. They got 47 different types of peppers. Yeah. You may not be able to get everything else in the world. You may have to get the Best Choice brand that people think, oh, no, what's that about? But you can get the most amount of peppers you've ever gotten in your entire life at the same time. Where else can you get agave? They got that.
Right.
They got the agave nectar, and they have the, what is it, the aloe? The full aloe leaves that you can buy.
Oh, yeah.
This is where I shop now. I'm like, I love this place.
That's great.
There's no panic to this place at all. It was a little busy, but everybody was just grabbing a normal amount of food. They were doing deals on stuff. Nothing was sold out. It was just like, man, this is my jam. I love this place. This is where I need to go. And it's kind of funny. Like I got one pack of toilet paper because I needed it.
Yeah.
I was down to like 1 roll, and I'm like, okay, well, need more. Grabbed it and then went, cool. I'm good.
Should be fine.
I'm good for now.
We'll be okay.
I'll come back.
I don't
when
need
more.
anything else on top of this.
I mean, to be honest, I got some T-shirts that could go if push come to shove. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty
or
of
a
options
shower.
here.
Socks.
I mean, I'm just saying. Here's the deal. So my fiance lived in Madagascar for the last couple years of her life, and she put out. It was so. I love that woman so much. It was so kind-hearted and loving and pure the way she meant it, and it just came off a little weird. But like, I know her heart, so it's not a big deal. But like, she's like, guys, PSA from someone who's lived in a third world country for 4 years. TP isn't that big of a deal,
Right.
Like, it's okay to just shower and soap it, and I'm just like, okay. All right, fair enough. And then everybody's like, wait, what?
Gross.
Gross. No, we can't do that. She's like, well, it's actually like still a pretty cleanly process. You're still soap and water in this situation.
Right, this is not that big of a deal.
At times cleaner than the other way. And
Yeah.
so
Where you're mostly just smearing it around. I mean, let's be honest. You're pushing it around. And sometimes you think, doesn't feel clean at all. This feels like I just moved poop around for a while.
Yeah.
and now I got to take a shower.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I feel like I might even be harvesting.
Like, that one wasn't ready for crop yet.
Oh no! Oh man, I was not prepared for that in any
Unnecessary.
way, shape, or form.
Unnecessary.
I shouldn't be allowed.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so here's the question then. What questions do you feel like do we have enough to do? You have enough to do? You fellas done any of that yet?
Done any what?
Done any of the things that I was talking about?
I mean, trying to help out families that I know. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, like I know families that are quarantined, and I'm like, you need to call me and let me know if you need to stay in your house. I don't.
Yeah.
I will go grab you groceries and I will bring them to your front door, and I'll Lysol them on the way out, and I'll walk away.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
So super interesting thought is a lot of the medical stuff that we get is from China, right? So like China's the only country in the world that produces aspirin.
Really?
What? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Every bit of aspirin that comes in this country comes from China.
That's crazy.
And so like so the thing to keep in mind as well is like some of the folks that we're talking about that need like their everyday heart medication, or people that take aspirin every day as part of like who have a heart condition, right?
Keep your risk of heart attack. Yeah.
Right, we're keeping an eye out for stuff like this because, like, like if obviously we have to import that from China, and so like there's it's almost insulting, right? Like there's way bigger problems on this thing besides the toilet paper, and
Right.
the toilet paper has somehow gotten to the king spot of this whole ordeal, and like it never made sense. It didn't make sense the first time it happened,
Right.
and it didn't make sense when the second truckload came in and it was gone too.
Right.
None of that ever made sense. And the weird part is you search the internet and like every third guy will be like, this TP thing's ridiculous. And to Ben's point, what type of influence do you think you're actually having? Right? Like because you could scream at the top of your lungs, this is not a toilet paper issue. Not the sickness is not even a toilet paper issue.
Right.
Nothing is a toilet paper issue.
We've created a toilet paper issue.
And people are still out there just ransacking the toilet paper.
Hey man, do you think it's safe to assume that anybody who hasn't brought it up on Facebook and said that the thing was outrageous are the people who are
Is the
doing
problem?
it? Yeah.
Like they're one of the dudes.
That's the tell.
Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go through my friends list on the Facebook, and I'm gonna look for anybody who has not posted that it's ridiculous to have taken the toilet paper, and I'm gonna just start tagging them. Listen here, Chad Wilson.
We know.
Yeah.
We know it was you.
I know you're buying all toilet paper. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is what I'm saying. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying in here. All this toilet paper went somewhere, right? All this spam went somewhere.
Yeah.
All these potatoes went somewhere. Someone has got it sitting on a stockpile, and they're like, "Yeah, these people are ridiculous. I don't. I
Right.
bought them for the homeless. That's probably what I did." Liar.
I'm stocking up because I have 38 children that you've never seen.
can you imagine what type of complete downfall of our entire society would have to happen to where this level of toilet paper hoardery makes any sense at all?
I think that's like problem number 47 on the list.
Right? I mean,
We have shut down as
that
a
means
society.
all the stores are closed, the trucks ain't moving, no food, drink, or good is being shipped anywhere.
Right.
Right? And this is the thing, right? Like, everything else that we would have to lose before this toilet paper situation is a deal. Like, you've bypassed all that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
like, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
You're more worried about wiping your butt than you are about actual sustenance for your home.
Yeah.
Like,
People are out, they're buying all the water, buying all the bottled water, right? And I saw it, it was right, it was pretty close to toilet paper, right? All the bottled water's got it. And I thought, what type of virus do you think this is? Right? Like, it all of a sudden grows feet and arms and goes down to the waterworks department
Right.
and shuts the valve.
yeah, exactly,
Right?
yes.
The pumps are going to pump, the motors are going to motor, right? Like
Yeah.
most of our water delivery system is automated.
Yeah, our infrastructure has to completely shut down before we have to worry about like water problems.
I mean, we've
Not in a
gone
drought.
We've gone bonkers.
I mean, even if the virus was in the water, right? Like, let's say somehow like some guy just sneezed in it 24/7. He's like wailing into the thing. One, we treat for it.
Yeah.
And two, like, have you seen places in the world where they're drinking water? Like, again,
Right.
these are here. I guess here's the deal. From groups of people who are always talking about privilege. These are privileged problems.
Yeah.
Toilet paper is a privilege problem. The ability to go get potatoes at the store is a privilege problem, right? The fact that you can, the government says we won't be able to meet church this Sunday, and so we're going to have to do it online. Privilege problem.
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, before we start talking, and like, look at the words as they leave your mouth and say, "Boy, I look dumb. I wish I could grab those back in."
Right.
This is, of all the things that are problems, this is not the time to waive the fact that you don't see the world correctly. Like, the non-privileged problem is the person who's not getting a paycheck, the person who doesn't know what to do with their kids because they're still trying to work. Even people who are trying to work from home and have no infrastructure to be able to do it, but like their company isn't super gracious about it. Like, there's all kinds of people in weird situations here, of which yours is not the worst. I'm almost not affected at all, to be honest. Like, I work from home anyway. We homeschool. Like, we know how to be home. We're good here. We generally keep a good, decent amount of food in the freezer. We could not buy anything for a number of weeks, and we'd probably be fine. And so we're not buying a lot of stuff. We had to go buy. I told you we couldn't find bread. I'm going to make bread tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got flour. I'll just make bread, okay? And it won't be good because I don't know how to make bread very well, but it'll be fine for however long it takes for people to quit buying out the brownberry, so until I can get some more. Or the artisan. Who makes Sara Lee? That's Sara Lee artisan bread.
That's the stuff.
That's pretty good.
Boob can't have it.
So sorry, Booba.
No, Brett, don't be sorry.
In either case, so like, I guess this is it's just the opportunity to not think, how am I impacted? Just start thinking about how other people are impacted, and like, just even if you start there, you'll find natural things to be able to do.
And there's I mean, not that people can't understand how you've gotten, like, it's not that, like, I've thought about this the last couple of days, like, and there'll be minutes where I'll drift off to the side and go, man, should I be worried here? This feels like a panic's going on. And like, are there less cars on the road? This is weird. This whole thing's weird, right? And then my mind will drift and I'll go, wait a minute. Everything's just fine here, right? Like, we've contributed it's once again, it's uncharted waters.
Right.
Everybody's trying to figure out how to do this thing, right? Like, if you could try to bolster your grace for people, and like, even the guy that is buying all the toilet paper.
Yeah, right. Agree.
You
He's
know
just
how
scared.
we got here. You know what he's doing, right? Like, I wish his motives were different. I wish he was seeing the thing correctly, but he's not. So, like, I understand he's got 10 dudes at his house, and he doesn't know, and they're all ladies. Oh, man, they go through some toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
I get it. You got to have it. And because Crazy Man bought all the toilet paper, he forced Sane Man to buy toilet paper because he was going to come back every day and just get what he needed, but everybody keeps buying it out. So now he's got to hedge his bet. And so now one crazy dude or 10 crazy dudes took 10 reasonable people off the charts because now they have to act half crazy to even get toilet paper or the chicken or whatever the heck you're going crazy on, right? Like, it just seems like you do have an opportunity to look at some things in perspective and realize that, like, your ability to eat a fresh peach that is out of season. It is March, sir. You should not have peaches, right? I loved it. The Amish store. I go down there and they said, look, bakery's closed from November to whatever. Have a good winter. Like, we don't do baked goods in the middle of winter because we don't. Because it's not baking season. Because we don't got the stuff, right? And I'm like, I love it. They're like, it's not time right now. So right now, some of the things that Ben's right. It's first world problems, right? Some of the things that we're upset about and we don't know what to do with, and we're like, oh, it's going to be totally disruptive. Let's be honest. Disruptive of what, actually? Right? What you had in your mind?
Yeah.
Because disruptive is, I don't have to go to work, or I don't get to drive to a building and they pay me money. I mean, we'll figure this thing out. Like, there's opportunity abounding to have good interactions with your neighbors, to be helpful to your community, to proclaim the love of Jesus Christ, and for heaven's sakes, to hang out with your own family. So let's do that.
Right. Read a book.
Read a book.
Oh my gosh. What would happen to the United States if we started reading?
So actually, do you think, like, is there a worry that all these people at home are gonna bog down the internet?
I read an article about that, and I think it's individual services. So places like Skype, Zoom, like conferences, conference sharing. They think that's a possibility, and so like those folks have been kind of buffering up. A lot of the stuff's cloud based anyway. So that's the thing is that like so we use Skype at work, but I use Skype whether I'm at work or whether I'm not at work. Right. So like it's not whether I did it at home didn't particularly impact my service provider.
So like are places like Amazon equipped? Because like I mean this is what I would do. Like they'll just order stuff off Amazon. You can still deliver it to my house. I don't have to talk to you. You don't have to talk to me.
So their infrastructure is Amazon. I mean they sell infrastructure, right? AWS is their platform where you can like buy infrastructure. And one of the things that the deal with is if you host your stuff with Amazon, like it just automatically ramps up. As soon as it sees volume, you need more servers, it just kicks more servers on. And when you don't need any more, it kicks them back off. Like they just got banks and banks of opportunity at these places.
Right.
Now, where Amazon's running into trouble, they're not doing prime delivery 2 days, or even 1 day in places where it used to. It could be like 4 or 5 days because people are soaking up the goods. People aren't dumb. As soon as they go to the local 5 and dime and there's no toilet paper, they went on Amazon and tried to order some.
Right.
And so they're starting to get wiped out. I was looking for a monitor stand because, like, I'm working from home. Usually got a couple monitors at work. Again, first world problem. I'm like, well, can I take the monitors with me? Like, no, we don't want you to take the monitors. I'm like, well, it would maybe I can get a hold of some, right? So I was pricing a monitor stand. Should have been here in 2 days. It's going to take 5.
Yeah.
And so and it's because people they're putting a burden on the system, and then 2, Amazon has people working there. They're trying to limit exposure, so they're cutting down. Facebook's closing. Right, I heard it from some lady at the Casey's. The local Facebook is not having. They're shutting down for 60 days or something. Right, so like, you know, but there's that's because there's humans. There's human workers in some of these places. If our first reaction to this situation is say, boy, look at how I'm being inconvenienced because there's not a person being put at least some potential risk somewhere else. You, sir, are being outrageous.
Yeah.
You're being selfish. And so just there's people who this is a really rough deal. Like, and so like I said, most people this isn't a risk, but like I'm not immunocompromised. For some people, like this is them. They're like this all the time, right? Like their families are like that. They've got people in their family. They've got special needs folks. This is a constant worry, and it's even bigger now. And so the question isn't whether I can or cannot do this on my own, but like what risk do I present to other people? And I suppose it's just keeping that type of thing in mind and like not being so focused on your own individual situation. And like, I just our reaction to this, not only to how we talk to people on the internet about it and to how government is handling it and about people who overbuy TP are handling it and our frankly our buying out of goods and services around us for our own personal store up, it just doesn't speak well of us.
No.
And we have an opportunity to shine here, and I think we have to be reminded of that. This is the thing where when things are rough, Christians are running in. When everybody else is running out, when everyone else is hoarding, we're standing at the place going, "Hey, I've got some toilet paper. Anybody need it?" Right? I got some extra chicken. I even cooked it into a casserole. Here you go, bro.
See, this is the thing where people are going to regret some of the advances that for technology. Right? Technology can't help us here. Right? It can organize. Right? Like it does well there. But like at the end of the day. If I get really in the straits, I'll kill a goat. I have a chicken that poops eggs out of his butt, right? Like we made all this push towards technological advancement and suburban areas and whatever, and like I was trying to think today, who's actually probably not affected by this at all? A farmer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 100 acres of space first of all, and he just goes, well, I mean, push comes to shove, there's like 30 head of cattle out there. You know, we'll take them out. We'll take one out at a time. I can give some to my neighbors. We're plenty good. Like, we produce our own food here. We're little subsistence, right? Like, we take care of ourselves.
They got plenty of distance.
We got plenty of distance. We can take care of our neighborhood and whatever. And so, like, actually, the heartland, the Midwest, has a better chance of being able to do this and do it well, right? Like, look at the completely urban areas where, like, I mean, you can't. What do you mean? We tried to grow chive on your patio one time and it failed. And so, like, there's nothing you can do. You are completely at the whim of the supermarket, you know. And so, like, it could be a time to take a little bit of step back and go, you know, I don't know if I like being. I know that I wouldn't like being put in a corner like this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I do not like being where I have to. If I have to rely on everybody to make sure that my family is fed, that makes me uncomfortable, right? And so, like, if there's anything that you could do to say, look, in case something happens, I'm not a bomb shelter guy or a stock ammo dude, but like, I mean, can you survive at your place for a couple weeks if something happened? I mean, let's be a little bit pragmatic here, you know?
Yeah.
Interesting. So we covered kind of where we come from, what we believe that the threats are. I think they said, like, even best curve, this thing's still around in July, August.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't mean like all the bans and whatever are, but like
It's prevalent.
Even it's still, you know, we're talking like it's gonna run over Easter season. It's gonna run over, could possibly run into the state fair, and like I mean, there's a huge economic impact of how this is looking, and like they're all super. I'm interested. I'm not worried. I'm just interested on how like all this shakes out. Right? I think it will shake out. Right? Obviously, I think it's gonna like it'll go through and it'll do what it's gonna do, and the economic stuff will have to be handled. But like we work, especially our stock market system and our capitalist system. It does this. It's built to ebb and flow. It's not a rigid type operation. So things are going to tank and then things are going to rebound. And like, it's just what the system's built to do. And so I think like some of the panic is all because of technology and because we're used to getting news and updates and collaboration within a microsecond, then we start making decisions based on the microsecond.
Yes.
And those are horrible way to live. Right? Like, how many times have you walked away from an argument, not 5 minutes away, and you're like, that was the thing to say.
Right.
Right? And it would have been dead on, and it was right. And so, like, and if you're forced to make decisions in the microsecond, then you are basically forcing yourself to be wrong more often than you used to.
Well, and the stock market thing's a pretty good example. That's our TP expressed in a much bigger format.
Right.
Where people overreact and then cause the problem that they otherwise didn't intend to. Right? And so, like, that's the stock market's an interesting deal because like the minute we think we assume we have some level of control, we start to panic. We think things are going to happen. We do things, and then the stock market follows it. The stock market is made of humans making human types of decisions, right? And so like I think just something to be aware of,
Right.
That like even as you think about our reactions where we think people overreacted and then went to buy TP, you only have a problem from a stock market perspective when you actually have realized it. So like if we said, hey, we think there's going to be a downturn in the economy, well, like you know what it is, it's predictable. If you didn't start cutting bait, then the thing wouldn't start going down. But then other people see it. This is what happens to people who got 401ks and retirement accounts. They look at everything going out and like, boy, everything's going down. I should get out of this. It's the wrong move, but then they do it and then somebody else does it. And now like you're kind of perpetuating the problem because the stock market is all about what people think. And I think based upon our TP situation, we can recognize that in the time of crisis, we don't think right. And so if your first inclination is to go and react in the stock market to something that's going on around you, I might just advise just to hold tight.
Boy, can you imagine the guys that are part of the like emergency response infrastructure within this country, and like all this goes down, and they go, "Wow, I never thought toilet paper was going to be a thing. It's not even in the bylines, right? It's not even
right.
Okay, we got to make sure the water supply's up, that we have temporary hospitals up and running. We probably got to overlay some gas masks and we need type O negative blood." And they got all these things ready to go in case of whatever's. And it turns out people went up crazy about the toilet paper. And they're like, I mean, dang, Hank, I had no idea this was going to be such a deal.
How was it going to be this way? Yeah.
All right. Just a quick shout out. We want to thank our first two followers on the Live from the Path Instagram. Allie Crummy with Allie Crummy Music has liked us.
All right.
She was on the show a couple weeks ago. You can check her out on our archive shows. You can check out some of the music she brought. And then, of course, the wonderful Jeff Arendale
right on.
has liked our thing.
Arendale's on the Insta?
Arendale is on the Insta. You can follow him,
man, isn't he?
Yeah, you can follow him, and you can follow Allie Crumb Music. And the third follower is some random dude named Troy, so he's not important. But our third follower will get a signed roll of toilet paper from the people from Live from the Past.
That's awesome.
So if you are the third person to like...
They're going to get LFTP.
They will get LFTP live from toilet paper.
That's
well
awesome.
done. Yeah. That was organic. That process. That was beautiful. We will happily sign, and we'll even sign the roll, like the cardboard on the inside.
How are we going to do that?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
We're gonna invent something that's gonna work. That way you don't have to worry about when you use the TP. It's not like, oh no, the signature's gone. I can never use it. That's impractical, and that's not what we're about.
I don't want you to harvest with my name there.
We will sign the inside cardboard for you, so you will have an officially signed LFTP from us. So we need one more follower for that.
Okay, that's great.
All right.
So just before we leave this topic, do we have any more big questions? Things that we're wondering here?
No, actually, I that kind of answered a lot of the stuff that I wanted to know. I just want to know what I need to do. That's my big deal, and I feel like I do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Broad advice. There's only one thing you need to do. Spend your time thinking about others.
Yeah.
I think that solves a lot of our panic problems. The virus is going to do what the virus is going to do, right? It just is, right? Like follow the guidelines that's set out by reasonable people. Don't get involved in trying to steer the ship that you're not even on board. You have no information. You only have information that comes out through social media and news outlets. And while I think that they are probably somewhat trustworthy, you're getting that information third, fifth, 10th hand from obviously our leaders who are making some decisions. And like I said, it is no surprise from this show that like there are things about our current leadership that we don't like, right? But at the end of the day, we're all trying to navigate some waters here, and I think we can band together as a community and go. I think we can do what's good for a lot of people. We can stop worrying so much about ourselves. We're not talking about the Black Plague here, right? We're not talking about the place burning down or nuclear war. We're talking about a couple well-timed, cautious steps that we are certainly going to survive, and you can do it with minimal irritation if you change your attitude.
That's right, and like recognizing when you're going to think about other people that like where that's your situation, then what's in your control do, what's not in your control pray about, and then recognize that there are people who are not in your situation who this is a legit threat to, just like any other thing going around, and be respectful of that.
Yeah,
right, and that you wouldn't miss it if you weren't thinking so much about yourself. So
Correct.
Let's think broadly. Be prepared to part with time, money, goods, and prayer and praises as it relates to this thing, and just know that like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right, we got time for one.
Yeah, at least one, I think.
They're live from the path. My wife's family drops by our home several times a week, usually unannounced. I don't mind them dropping in, but what does bother me is they bring their kids and expect us to feed them during the visit. It has gotten to the point that I hide our snacks and beverages in the bedroom because if I leave them in the cupboard, they disappear. They often end up eating the leftovers I had planned to be my lunch for the next day. I've talked with my wife several times about this situation. She agrees with me, but she says there's nothing she can do about it. I wasn't brought up that way. I would never think of going to someone's home, opening up cupboards, and helping myself to food without an invitation. Also, I'm retired and on a fixed income. Am I overreacting? And must I just keep my mouth shut?
Well, what was the relationship?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. How do they know these people?
My wife's family drops by. That's it.
So they're your in-laws?
I'm assuming that they are... I don't know. I don't mind them dropping in, but what does bother me is they bring their kids. Can I assume that it's your wife's children, like their stepchildren, and then they bring your grandchildren or your step grandchildren to the house, and the kids eat the stuff?
Maybe that, or maybe cousins.
I don't know how often.
I mean, maybe.
Okay, doesn't matter.
No, I
guess
mean,
not.
maybe not. I mean, that is weird.
What do you mean?
I still ask for food at like my mother's house. Like I feel weird raiding cupboards. I think it's because I'm the big fat guy, and everyone expects me to walk in and go, "Hey, what's in your fridge?"
Right.
And
I'm
then
gonna
just
eat the
start
whole
attacking.
box of Uncle
Yeah,
Ben's.
Exactly.
You got
Who
any-
got the ho-hos?
You got any bullion cubes?
Like, that's unnecessary. So like to eliminate that stigma, I usually go, excuse me,
Yeah.
would you mind if I partook in anything from your fridge?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would never be okay with doing that. But deal with it.
I mean, it's weird. Here's the thing. So here's what's difficult. Children are difficult because there is a measure of like I got two reactions. The first one could be, look, just give it to them. But secondly, they're children and they're acting rudely, and so it's not out of line to go, hey man, we got you some stuff. We got
Right.
you some here. You guys, you want anything to eat? You can have some bananas and oranges, right? But no, you can't just eat my leftovers. That's weird.
That is weird.
That's
seeing
weird
something
behavior.
in the clamshell and then going, ooh, I love fettuccine Alfredo.
Now hold
and
on.
then grabbing it.
I mean, I feel like this could easily have been addressed eons ago. Like they show up and you go, look, boys, there's a new program when it comes to the snacks and leftovers. Leftovers are mine. Snacks I got laid out on the table.
Yeah.
You can have whatever you got.
I love it. Yeah.
Goldfish, have some fruit snacks.
Right? Anything
Enjoy
in the
a
cupboard,
ho-ho.
mine. Any of the leftovers, mine. Any of the snacks on the table, yours.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I do, and I don't think it's not selfish. Yeah, I mean, Mike, would you come to my house and start eating out of my fridge?
No.
I would take a soda from you. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't otherwise like get into your rice and beans.
Well, I would say, I mean, I do this all the time, right? I'm like, do you have any soda around here? Right?
Yeah.
And then I might open the fridge as I'm saying that. But, I mean, I would certainly ask. I can't think of anywhere I go where I just take it.
Mike, I've house sat for you and asked for food.
Yeah.
My job was to eat the food in the fridge.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
pretty
just-
sure I texted you on multiple occasions. Hey, is it cool if I eat some of that cheese?
I think that's fine. Like, here's the thing: is like
I
they're
would never do
kids,
that.
right? Like,
That's weird.
I'm assuming that they're kids, and like you said that they're kids, and so I'm assuming they're like between the ages of say 8 and 14.
Yeah.
So whatever, maybe their parents aren't paying attention to them. They don't care. They don't find it rude, but you do. It's your house. Say, look, just,
Yeah, it's fine.
Just set a guideline. Stop being such a wiener. I mean, you worried that your wife going to yell at you because you laid down the law about the snacks? If
Right.
her family's that sensitive, there's nothing you can do about this anyway. You know?
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Secular says, this is your wife's family, and she is the one who should deal with this. All she has to do is say she would appreciate if her relatives ask when they'd like some food or drinks, because their foraging through your cupboards has created a problem for the two of you.
What? I don't know that you need to open up to your grandkids potentially that like you're causing marital problems between
Right,
your grandfather and I.
I mean, yeah,
Just say stop eating my food.
Yeah.
I got food for you. Eat that food.
you're the worst negotiator ever. I got to be honest. You've really pained me right in my soul. You've won. You've
You've
won.
already beaten me.
Yeah,
I'm
our
a broken
marriage is
man.
so frail that when the granola bars are gone, we are done.
Right.
Yeah, you've really oversold it. You've pumped like 70 pounds of drama in this thing. Just say a thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that my father-in-law would not do this. Hey, listen, you guys ate all the Twizzlers last time, and those weren't for you. So here's what we're going to do. You each get a fudge round, and that's it. That's the extent over here, okay?
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
you.
Yeah, this is it's totally fine to set boundaries. And it's not offensive, it's not cruel. No, it's fine.
It's just regular living.
Yeah, yeah. Hit me up with another one. I'm on a roll here.
Okay. Okay, we got two more. Ready?
Okay.
Dear Life from the Path, for the past few years, I have encountered a problem with cashiers in stores.
Mhm.
I pay with cash and generally have change coming back to me. When the cashiers return my change, they hand it back in one big wad along with the receipt. When this happens, I must stop, lay everything down on the counter, and separate the different denominations. Then I have to place the different bills into my wallet. I've tried asking them to place the receipt into the bag, but they usually don't listen. Also, some of them reach for the next customer while I'm still putting my change away. It is so frustrating. Is there something I can do differently?
Yeah. Do that after you walk away.
Yeah, you can try not being a pain in the balls. Why don't you try that?
Literally, you are not the only consumer of this store. You are ridiculous. Even if you are the only consumer at this store, friggin' walk away and do this 20 feet away from the aisle.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not so.
Oh.
I can sympathize with this man. Like sometimes they'll hand you the bills and the change and the receipt all at the same time and put it in your hand.
Yeah.
And you're like, obviously these don't go out of the same place. But I just stuff them all in my front pocket and I straighten it out in the van.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason to clog up the line with this. And I mean, what do they want to do? After every transaction, they're going to go, how would you like your change handed to you?
Right.
I can either do it separately or one big wad, or I can fold the bills nicely and have them already sequentially ordered.
Yeah. Would
I
you
mean-
like all of them facing the same way?
This is the gas station, sir. You know what I'm saying? Get moving.
They aren't they sequentially ordered? Like who takes
That's true. Who takes a 10 and then a 1 and then a 5?
No.
pulls out of the till
Out of 20?
like
No.
a psychopath?
I've seen Tarzan start whipping bills out in a crazy manner.
I
Yeah.
suppose that's true. Thinking about the training regimen at most gas stations is not probably heavily weighted on the way you hand back change.
And I mean, what about those gas stations that automatically kick the change portion out in that little roller coaster, the change coaster?
The come and goes have that.
Ring,
Yeah.
and then you got to dig it out yourself. All while the guy's holding bills in your face. I mean,
That's
first of all,
awkward.
get with the times, pay with the debit.
Yeah.
Guys are the only people in the world that find that awkward.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
weird.
like it.
Yeah, I agree. as
Like
well.
I
you
said-
guys found weirdness in a machine handing you coins.
Because it requires you to be ambidextrous. You have to work with. He hands you the bills out of his one hand, so I take it with my right, and then I have to pull the change out with my left, and then try to two-handed both into two pockets.
Yeah.
They've set me up.
All while my goods are on the counter and they're not in my hand.
Right, right. It makes you feel like you're behind.
Yeah.
There's not a smooth way to exit that
You
transaction.
guys are complicating this way too
They've
much.
set that up poorly.
You know what I do? Do what you just did, but don't go, oh no, the whole time I'm
I
doing
pay
it.
with the debit, so I don't get involved in this.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
But even that irritates me because they added an extra question in almost all the debit machines. They're like, does Does this
Purchase okay?
Yeah, does this look correct? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't ring it up.
I don't know how much this.
They said it was
costs.
$13.53, and I agreed. I swiped the card, didn't I? That's enough that I agree.
I didn't do the math and then figure out the tax on top of it and go, excuse me, sir, that's 13 cents too much.
Yeah, I mean, I always wonder if this became a problem, right? Like, I've had it where people have gone, sir, that'll be $23.05. I'm like, what? That seems a little steep. What happened here? Oh, I double rang the whatevers. Okay, I straightened that out before I swiped the card. But once I swipe the card, I'm agreeing to the transaction.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask me
Pretty much.
nothing. Just say, send it through. I said this is fine.
Right.
If it says no, it says cancel transaction. So, like, you could have just started this by just going, hey, that's too much.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that, Ricardo. Put your Tarzan money back and re-ring.
Right.
Something
This
funny.
is a newspaper. You're charging me $72. What's going on?
Yeah, if I didn't want this, I wouldn't have stuck the car in. And they're like, is this okay? I mean, are you my therapist? Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Are you sure you want to make this purchase? I don't need your kind of accountability.
Yeah, run this thing.
You don't run my life, robot. That's right.
Oh, man. We were
Shut
in
up,
the,
Internet.
We were in the Menards yesterday, and some lady wrote a check. Now, here's the deal. Check writing's a pain anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, at Menards, the manager has to come validate a check.
Oh,
So,
sweet
like,
Moses.
you know, people, even the Menards, which is selling food, people cleaned out the eggs. There's a
course.
run of stuff at the Menards. And so this woman writes a check for $200, $212, and, like, we got to wait there for 5 minutes while the manager, and you know what she did? She just looked at it and goes, what's your social security number? Writes it down, and then goes, this is okay. And then the lady at the checkout had to then type in the social security number. I'm like, we could have done that with it. What did you do?
Yeah.
You didn't Sherlock anything over
Nothing.
here.
Right. That is the correct amount of numbers.
That's right. I verified.
I have
format
Social
is
Security
correct.
law memorized. Oh, it starts with a 484. Got it. Cool. We're in the right spot.
And where were you born? Champaign, Illinois? This is definitely right.
I'm sorry, that's from Peoria.
Do you already have a Visa MasterCard? Because you do now. Now that I have your social and full name.
Stole your identity.
Maybe the lady's like a folksy, like she looks you in the eye and takes you and is like, you know what?
I can-
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that's you.
That's you. Those are your checks.
She's
You
just
all
a
right,
person
Betty?
reader. All right, so what's Secular got to say about this one?
You're going to love it. Secular says, I have two suggestions.
Oh, great.
The first is to discuss your concerns with the store manager.
Oh,
The second is to shop somewhere else.
Yes.
yes, of course, the escalation process is the right way to take it.
Validated.
I don't like the way your cashiers hand me change, and I'd like to speak to corporate about it, please. Wow. Can we affect this from the ground up? I've talked to 400 other people. We'd like to file a class action lawsuit against you.
There's no weapon I hate more than the drama gun. And
Yeah.
she just pumps it right out. She's like, I filled this at home, and I'm ready to drama it up. Let me talk to your manager.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something about that store manager. He don't give two craps.
No.
He don't care about what you're saying. In fact, he's going to regale the rest of the employees with the story that he had to
Exactly,
talk to
yes.
you for the next 3 days. You'll never guess this woman came in upset because of the way I handed out the change.
Right. You think his whole job is to make you go away? That's usually not actually the job.
No.
That's not it. That's not the concept of escalation of customer service anymore. We're not in a place where we have to go, okay, give them whatever they want as long as they're quiet and they don't say anything, it's fine. That's not the deal anymore. They're just the face of it, but they're not actually going to fix anything.
Yeah, I'm going to shop somewhere else. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Look, if this is how you're going to handle problems, you need to memorize the following phrase. Hi, I'm a gouge turd. Please get your manager so that he can be made aware of that.
That's right. Not enough people know that I'm really irritating.
Does your management structure recognize how much of a boob I am? Because I'd really like for them to
In
know.
fact, I have
I'd like
a
to
poster
express
all ready
that.
to go. Here, hang this up.
I don't even want. I don't want the corporate phone number. I want their address.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
I'd
right.
like to send a letter.
Sir, did you sign? What does the word gouge mean? Did you sign your name under this gouge turd
Yeah,
phrase?
of course you wouldn't know, Neanderthal.
Did you have letterhead printed?
All right, last one. Ready?
Yeah.
Dear Live from the Path, my husband and I have been married for 30 years. I recently retired, and we are planning a cruise to Europe and a 2-month stay. Not anymore, you ain't,
I
bro.
was just about to say that.
Returning on the same cruise line. The cruise line is rather posh, and travelers are asked to, quotes, dress appropriately, which means essentially men should wear a jacket to dinner, no tie required. My husband is balking at the idea he should have to wear a jacket on his vacation, and now says he won't go. Live from the Path, we have already invested several hundreds of dollars in deposits. So what do? I'd rather not spend 14 days at sea with a husband whining over wearing a jacket for 30 minutes a day and end up dining alone. We reserved a table for 2 so we wouldn't be stuck making small talk. We are cruising because he will not fly.
That's rough.
Your husband sounds great, and you sound great too. We reserved a table for 2 so we don't have to make with the small talk.
how posh of a place where you've invested hundreds of dollars
Right, exactly.
for a 2-month stay in Europe? I feel like this thing is a warehouse with a crate in it.
Yeah, you're on a cattle ship.
Yeah, we've already invested tens of dollars. In a what? I think they're taking you for a ride.
How much is it to get there? $200.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. Why
Yeah.
does it smell like livestock in here? No reason.
Yeah, we're the Uber of the sea, the Suber.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the question is, why would you, didn't you know that? Didn't you know that your husband would flinch at this?
Yeah, this should
If
be
you've
a
been married for
surprise.
30 years, you shouldn't be surprised. When was the last time you wore a jacket?
Yeah.
If you can't remember that, maybe imposing this on the dude is a bad deal. You should know your hubby after 30 years.
Yeah.
Your expectations are weird.
I mean, now
He's a bit of a boob, too, though.
we can take a couple minutes to be like, look, dude, just put that jacket on.
Right.
You
Yeah,
wanna make
agreed.
your wife happy,
Agreed.
wear
Yeah,
the
agreed.
jacket.
Yeah, you're being a bit of a boob.
And
Put
plus,
a jacket
I mean,
on.
you're going to spend 2 months in Europe. Just put the jacket on to get there, right? Like, no one wants to take their shoes off at the TSA line. You do it anyway, right? So
Well, he doesn't. He doesn't fly.
No, he don't fly, right? I suppose, but I mean, we do all kinds of things we don't want to do. It's a system of weights and measures, and you go, is this worth what I want to have at the
Right.
end? Yes, it is. Okay, well, put up the
Yeah.
jacket, right? I mean, buy a flamboyant jacket. Buy a jacket that has that little flower that comes out of it, squirts water. Who cares, dude? Just do something to allow you to do this.
Buy the jacket that has your favorite non-imported domestic beer on it, because I can guess that's the kind of person you are.
Yeah.
Just wear that jacket
Wow,
that's got
Boo.
Budweiser on the
Wow.
back.
I mean,
Yeah.
just because a guy doesn't want to wear a sports jacket,
I'm
he's
guessing-
a NASCAR hillbilly?
I'm guessing he's a Budweiser fan.
No, that's wrong. What
I
you
mean-
said was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to
Tell me
wear.
wrong all you want.
I don't want to wear a jacket. I don't drink a domestic draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would you throw that much of a stink about it to not go on a cruise?
I'd
would-
yell at my wife.
Yeah, I would
What
bring-
were you thinking? I don't want to wear no jacket.
Yeah, I would probably. Bring
And that
it
would
up.
be the end of it, yes?
I
Yes.
guess I'll wear a jacket.
Yes,
But it's got to be the
exactly.
king of beers.
Yes, that would be the end of it for you guys. You guys are not the demographic that I'm speaking of when I say I will absolutely not go on a flight and I refuse to go on a cruise if I have to wear a jacket. This is ridiculous. That's the
Yeah.
guy that I'm talking about.
It's the turd ball.
Oh boy. Okay. This
All right,
is great.
Secular, let's hear it.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Here we go. Let's do the old swing and miss the problem. You have already Secular says you have already accommodated your husband by booking a cruise instead of flying. Could his problem be that his jackets no longer fit him?
Oh, sweet Moses.
If that's the case, you should buy him another one. However, if his objection is that he really doesn't want to go, why not take your husband up on his offer to stay home and ask one of your girlfriends to accompany you? Then all three of you might have a better time.
on a 2.5-month trip?
Right.
Almost 3 months, because it's 14 days each way.
Yeah, that's wild.
Okay.
What's the actual solution here?
Secular, please.
No.
No. Please, please, please buy your husband another jacket. I would love to see how that ends.
Yeah, right.
With your angry, curmudgeoning husband that refuses to wear a jacket. You think it's because they don't fit.
Yeah, I got you this one. Great.
Yeah, Earl, I got you another one. That's exactly how that
Gotta
conversation's
be.
gonna go.
I wonder why he's so against. I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be on my vacation forced to wear some monkey suit I don't want to wear. But I mean, once again, if it gets me to Europe and I refuse to fly, there's no other way to get there.
Right.
You can't drive.
He's being unreasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless he's like, hey, can we just cancel and get a regular cruise where I don't have to wear a jacket? Maybe she did this without asking him.
That's a valid point.
I don't know. You know, I mean, you can dress nicely on a cruise that doesn't ask for it, right? You can dress nicely. You can always dress higher.
Here's the deal. What happens if you don't?
Oh, I don't know.
You're on the cruise.
Right? We can put
They're
you
not
in
going
the
to
ship
take
jail.
you back to port because you didn't wear a jacket.
Yeah, sir, you'll need to wear a jacket in here. I mean, you're going to make a scene.
Yeah, I don't want to. I bet people take their jacket off all the time when they sit down at the table.
Yeah, you probably just have to have it on to be sat.
Yeah.
Then they put you down,
and then just take it off.
And then you could play Phil Collins, no jacket required, the whole time.
It'll be fine. I think that the right answer is, look, dude, you need to wear the jacket. And look, wife, if you got a little fired up and thought that your husband would rise
Right.
to occasion, you've known him for 30 years. You were signing the contract with sprinkles and rainbows. He was never going to do this.
Yeah.
You had it in your head that he might rise to this occasion, but you knew deep down in your soul that he was not going to do that.
Right.
And now he's done the exact thing that you knew was going to happen, and it's unreasonable to be upset about it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, hey, you've been listening to Live from the Path. Big thanks for hanging out with us. It's a long show tonight. Hope you enjoyed the program. If you have any feedback for us, give us a call on the Live from the Path complaint line. It's 515-517-0085. It's 515-517-0085. That's the Live from the Path complaint line. Let us know how we're doing, where we got this thing wrong, and we'd be glad to hear your feedback. Also, hey, if you're listening to the podcast on, I don't know, Spotify or what's that one?
iTunes?
Stitcher? iTunes. Yeah, hey, leave a review for us. We it just helps kind of maybe the show shows up on some lists and things that more folks might enjoy it. So we'd appreciate if you give us a rating and maybe a review that super help us out. And let's see here. Oh, and find us on Instagram. What was it? At Live from the Path?
No, it's at LFTP Show. Live from the Path was taken.
Pretty
Sure by you 4 years ago.
I probably have. Yeah, that's okay. At LFTP Show.
But if you type in Live from the Path, you can just find our logo. If you know our Facebook, you can find what we do. You'll find the logo that says Honest Faith, Fierce Grace, and Donkeys, and you'll be able to follow us.
All right, that's us. All right, hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, be faithful to the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.